Hey, Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I'd like to begin this sit down by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakwah HaKadosh. Double honor to the apostles and elders of great most on the rule well, and salutations to the sincere Aki. I'm pushing this truth with no due diligence and sincerity. A quick hit to the point. If you're in the spirit, we all know this day's been coming, and that's the quarantine prisons, man. The concentration camps that Esau Edom has erected and has had erected across all of these different locations across the planet Earth, and is going to be using in the midst of this pandemic, man, and as a means of forcing people to take Vanessa, which is also ultimately going to lead to Marcus, the V and the M, man, the MOTB, you know, because ultimately speaking, Esau's agenda, part of Esau's agenda, his New World Order agenda, is the population control, man, keeping humanity under 500 million as per the Georgia Guidestones. And you can see here in Australia, which, hey man, Australia is miles ahead in that New World Order Orwellian state of thinking. They've already got these concentration camps set up, man, for people that refuse to take Vanessa and ultimately Marcus. I'm going to play this video, hit you with some scriptures, and we're going to get it in. Let's go.
This is a commitment by the Wagner family working with the Queensland government to say to the people of Queensland, we want to keep you safe. And the best way to keep you safe and to keep Delta out of Queensland is to build as quickly as possible a regional quarantine facility.
Did you hear that? In order to prevent Delta, which from spreading within Australia, they are building a regional quarantine facility, aka a concentration camp for those that contract Delta. And ultimately what that is those that are not willing to comply and take Vanessa, because Vanessa does not give you protection against the Rona anyway. So at the end of the day, all it is a ploy to compromise your immune system. And if you decide, because that's hence why they're pushing the perpetual jabs. Some sources say jabs every 6 months. Some are saying annual jabs to follow as booster shots every year. But nonetheless, they're trying to get everyone jabbed up with Vanessa. And if you refuse Vanessa, more than likely you're going to end up in this Queenslander quarantine camp. Notice how they got the romantic music playing, and you have this Edomite lady in front of you telling you that it's for the benefit of the community and they're trying to stop Delta from spreading. But anyway, let's go on.
I have listened to Queenslanders. I know how much they support a regional quarantine facility.
So she claims that she's gone out into society and spoken to people, and they support um they support having a concentration camp built within their community. So they're just going about their everyday lives, going to their 9 to 5s, going to their jobs, coming home, knowing that in their backyard the concentration camp's being built, which they're more than likely going to be put in it. And she claims out of her mouth that she's spoken to people and they're in support of this. You see why the scripture says that this man and his people in general, their words were smoother than butter, but war was in their heart. Look at this madness.
To be in Queensland. They want their community kept safe. That's what they're saying to me, and we are delivering it. This is a race. We are up against a highly infectious Delta variant that's sweeping the world. We don't know what's next. We need to get these facilities up and running, and everybody has seen how successful Howard Springs is. This is a commitment by the Wagner family working with the Queensland government to say to the people of Queensland, we want to keep you safe. And
this is the devil that you're dealing with. And you see, this is all already covered within the scriptures. You see, what John the Revelator saw when he was on the Isle of Patmos, right in the book of Revelations, through the inspiration of Yahweh Shai, is he saw the concentration camps, and Yahweh Shai told him this in Revelations, the 2nd chapter and the 10th verse. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, yeah, your benevolent politicians, your Edomite leaders that want to protect you against Delta, the devil shall cast some of you into prison that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. He that hath an ear to hear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death. So see right there, ultimately what the Lord is saying through the Apostle John is, this man is going to tempt us. He's going to have brothers thrown and hemmed up into prisons, man, for the sake of this word, for the sake of not compromising their bodies, for the sake of not taking the MOTB, not taking Marcus. You know, he's going to literally throw Ben into prison for that, man. But as long as we remain faithful unto Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Dash unto death, the Lord is going to reward us with a crown of life for our faithfulness, man. Now, you have scriptures such as Psalms 91, which emphasize the fact that, you know, ultimately, man, the Lord is going to cover his elect. He's going to give his elect that covering and that protection. But there's still going to be 2/3 of our people, man, that are going to take whatever the Esau Edom offers them, and hence why they're going to go into perdition and destruction. And even some of the elect are going to be tried, man. The Lord didn't speak about carrying your cross for no reason. And now we don't know specifically which men of in the truth are going to have to fall have that lot before upon them. But ultimately, man, we hope that the Lord will carry us through whatever we got to deal with, man, even if it comes down to the penultimate decision of death. Because ultimately, guess what? If you bend to this devil's will, you're gonna die anyway, because the Lord's destroying everyone that takes that MOCB, man. And that Vanessa will kill you slowly, you know. Now, why are they moving with such pace? Because they know that they got a short time to execute exactly what they want to execute, man. Hence why it is written in Revelation, the 12th chapter and the 12th verse, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe, meaning destruction, to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil, Esau Edom, has come down onto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that you have but a short time. You see, originally this was all voluntary. Now they're gonna take you. You don't have the option of just staying in your home and, you know, shielding, as they like to call it, and ordering your groceries online and having non-contact delivery and none of that. Now, if you don't want to take it, they're gonna forcibly come to your. They've been saying they're gonna do door to door Vanessa's, and then ultimately, even a step further, they're going to remove you and put you in a concentration camp. They're going to put you in a what's the best how did
the best way to keep
let's see how she described it, a concentration camp, but let's see the words she used.
you safe and to keep Delta out of Queensland is to build as quickly as possible a regional quarantine facility.
A quarantine facility, like, you know, like the quarantine hotels they built where they told you have to pay I think it's 1,700 for your stay. yeah, exactly those same things right there. They're gonna build a quarantine camp. Oh man, but listen, hey man, even if this has to befall you, or you know you're put in a worse situation, man, just know that in the spirit, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai got you. And why should you think that way? Because the Lord never forsook any of our forefathers that were in those positions. A great example is the book of Daniel, man. Is the prophet Daniel. So like, yo, hey man, you know, because Daniel was put in a position, man, where he was thrown into a den of lions, man. Yeah, Daniel was thrown into a den of lions, and those lions were actually starved before he was thrown in there. And the reason Daniel was thrown into the den of lions was because he didn't follow the decree to worship Darius the king, man. Yeah, and as a result of that, he was thrown into the den of lions, man, by his accusers. And guess what? The Lord saved Daniel. You know, one of the accounts actually tells you that the prophet Habakkuk was sent to Daniel, man, to give him pottage, man, while he was you know, in the den of lions. And now you gotta understand, not only were these lions starved, and not only did they not eat Daniel, but Daniel was able to eat food in front of hungry lions. Do you understand, like, what I'm saying to you here? Like, the Lord, man, can do whatever he will. The Lord controls the elements, man. The Lord controls the elements. This is the book of Daniel. We're gonna go straight into it. Daniel's the 6th chapter. And let's start from 6. Then these presidents and princes assembled to the king and said unto him, King Darius, live forever. So, you know, Darius had presidents and princes over his provinces, and all the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the councillors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall answer the petition of any god or any man for 30 days, save thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. So it was for a 30-day period, and that was to affect any man, man. that you couldn't pray to any god or ask anything of any man except Darius. So they were trying to deify this king. Now, O king, relating to Darius, established the decree and signed the writing that it may be not changed according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which altereth not. Wherefore the King Darius signed the writing and the decree, so he pretty much made it law. And when Daniel knew that, and that's exactly what these people are doing. You see with Vanessa, Pfizer got FDA approved on Monday, and that means that eventually it can get written into law that it's a statute to take it. And if you don't take it, you can't work, you can't eat, you can't go into restaurants, you can't go into bars and all of that. Similar fashion to what happened here, but in this occasion is in regards to a medical mandate, and this is regards to faith and who you can pray to. Let's see the attitude of the prophet Daniel. However, now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being opened in his chamber towards Jerusalem, praying to the east. He kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God Yahweh, as he did aforetime. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God within that 30-day period where they made a rule that no one can make supplications to any other gods apart from Darius. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man shall ask a petition every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save thee, except thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, one of those Israelites, regardeth not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. Then the king, when he had heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him, and he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. So he was vexed in his heart because he realized what that meant for Daniel. And even the king, the Mede king Darius, was sorry because Daniel was actually, quite highly regarded in Media Persia, man. When you read the scriptures. Then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is that no decree nor statute which the king establisheth may be changed. So they had malice in their hearts. They even tried to, they deceived the king, man. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, thy God whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. There's another account of this in Daniel's the 14th chapter, but about the 33rd verse, and it goes into Habakkuk being sent there through the Spirit. But notice that Daniel was put into prison, man, an ancient equivalent where they put a boulder, a stone in front of the door, so there was no way out, and Daniel was in there with those hungry lions. Yeah, and the stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Now, you think about this with a logical mind, a carnal mind. Lions that haven't eaten in days, there's a batch of them. They see a human thrown in there. There's no way out. He's stuck in there with the lions. He's not coming out. That's the carnal way of thinking about it. That's the faithless way of thinking about it. Now, what's faith? The evidence of things hoped for. In fact, let's quickly grab that. Now, faith, at the end of the day, to the normal mind is crazy. But where is it? Hebrews 11:1. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. So ultimately, faith, if you want to put it verbatim, to the world is crazy, because faith is the belief that you can be put into prison, but the Lord can give you a magneto style power to bend the bars and open up the gates and let yourself out. Faith is the belief that an angel could deliver you in the same way the Apostle Peter was delivered from prison. Faith is the ability to believe that you can just make yourself dematerialize like Yahweh Shai did, because he did say that we do his works and greater, and the Lord's not a man that he should lie. Do with that what you will. Daniel 6 and 17, and a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting, because he was grieved. He knew he'd effed up. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him, so he had a sleepless night. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel, O king. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God Yahweh, is thy God whom thou servest continually able to deliver thee from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. So you can imagine, he heard Daniel's voice and he was probably thinking he was hallucinating, hearing things. But overnight, Daniel was able to chill in a cave with starving lions. You know, starving lions whose primary reaction is to be a predator, is to hunt. You know, Daniel was able to stay in a den of lions. You see, with the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, nothing is impossible. Hence why our forefathers were able to walk through a body of water, man. You know, on like an aquarium, through faith. They were able. Yahweh Shai was able to walk on water. Was able to heal the sick. And ultimately, what did he always say? That, you know, heal the sick, the lame, the lepers, the blind. Their faith that somehow, some way, even though medical practices couldn't restore those things onto them, their limbs, literally by having faith in the Heavenly Father, yeah, through His Son, they were able to get that restored onto them. You see, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Ratazah, the Lord has apportioned us that spirit of faith. Some real crazy things are about to happen. You might be in the back of a G4S van being taken to a concentration camp, Lord willing, and if the Lord wills it, you can literally get yourself out of there, man. Kick the door open, get some sort of superhuman strength and boot it open. You know, teleport out there like Goku. Man. Anyway, my God hath sent his angel and have shut the lion's mouth. You know? Hey, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were in a fire so hot it killed the people that started the fire, and they came out not even smelling the smoke. My God hath sent his angel and have shut the lion's mouth, that they have hurt me, not hurt me, for as much as before his innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Have I done no hurt? Then was the king exceeding glad, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. No, not even a scratch, nothing. Look at this. And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, them, their children, and their wives. And the lions had the mastery of them, and brake all their bones in pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den. So those same hungry lions that chilled with Daniel overnight destroyed those men, man. And that would have been a miraculous scene, man, within Medio Persia at the time, you know. And at the end of the day,